What's going on, everybody? Doc and Sloth, we are back. And we're back into some Halo Wars 2 action. Feels like a little while because it's been a little while, but we've got a lot of stuff to cover. So stay tuned to the channel. But for this episode, we're going to be testing out the two new leaders we got. So we have some mixed opinions, which I'm sure we will share over the course of this episode. But we definitely do want to get in, play a little bit of Blitz. Interestingly enough, we're playing 2v2. And they've done it open, which means for us that all of the card levels are going to be capped at 6, which is actually really nice. So they're setting everybody on an even playing field, which is great, especially when we get these new leaders, because a lot of the cards aren't nearly as powered up as they normally would be. So I'm pretty excited about that, but we're going to jump into this. We'll get a couple games in. We've got a couple decks that we're going to test out, and honestly just try to have some fun and see how the competitive scene on this game, see if it's still here. I think that was a big question for me going into this slot, is how quick are we gonna get into this game?
It wasn't bad. And my issue with 2v2 open is I don't have an excuse for getting smashed now.
Right.
I can't be like, well, their weapons or their cards are just better than mine, so open. Hoping I can do decent.
Interestingly enough, so I am running Pavium. Our favorite friend Sloth here is going to run alternate leader Voridus. And that's interesting for us because I am trying out the blister back, which I wish would lock down. The guard blister back, which I think is probably one of the more interesting cards we're gonna see actually out of these two DLC leaders. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, the blisterback and the infused engineers. These are the ones that these are the two units that I'm actually really excited to see. And they're gonna let me kind of chill on C, so he's gonna hang out.
Sounds good. We've got this pretty well locked in, and this is kind of what I was thinking was going to happen with this. Was we would just get things kind of locked in, they get a couple guard blister backs down, and there's not going to be a whole lot they're going to be able to do here. You are getting
That's the plan
by your own. Interestingly enough, I will drop in a Reaver here to get the sight lines going.
I don't know, the thing with any of the banished leaders is that we end up using the same 4 or 5 units very often with them. Being, you know, a lot of locusts and stuff like that I don't know, it takes a little bit away from it. And I know we've talked some about the frustration that we've kind of felt with kind of the lack of creativity a little bit with some of these units. But
yeah, my thought process is, and I kind of had an intro video to this going up that you guys will see, but my only feelings on it are, I do kind of wish, you know, I have no problem bringing in I have no problem bringing in another, you know, brute leader, because that's, you know, the majority of what these you know, guys are. I got no problem with that. I just think, especially with this last, especially with the last DLC that we're seeing that's dropping in, it would have been nice to just get some other variety. And the fact of, I think the initial thing that made me the most upset was the fact that we had like multiple cards that were basically the same for the two leaders, which I thought was kind of a cop-out. Now, I'm not mad. I think some of the stuff that they did add is really neat. I think that's pretty cool. Like, I've been pretty happy with what I'm seeing so far, but at the same time, I think there was more creativity that they could have used, and we could have got a little bit more variety. Because again, at this point, that's it. I mean, this is it for the game. That's all we're seeing. This is what we're getting. I mean, this is the last of the content, and I don't know. I guess I have mixed feelings on it, kind of like you said.
Well, and we're hoping that they actually do end up playing a little bit differently, because it just doesn't totally seem like it that they would. At least on paper.
Yeah.
Go ahead and try and push him to see if we can take this back here.
It's fine. You can actually get one of your units up. I will do this rain of fire, which I'm excited to try and to see.
Oh, we're gonna double up.
Cool, dude. Rain of Fire is probably one of the best new abilities they've got. That was that's solid. Look at that.
That was probably a little bit of overkill there.
Look at that thing. That was
Okay
beautiful.
with it though.
I just want to really.
Oh, we're gonna need a support unit there.
Kind of playing like poop, but I just want to. I really just want to try out a lot of these new cards. To be honest with you. Really haven't contested A too much. They really haven't contested B at all, which I think is kind of interesting. You guys building a little bit of force up over A.
I'm under fire from ground troops.
This Wraith that can carry units is really interesting.
I'm under attack from
Yeah, that has the potential to be pretty fantastic. The Sergeant Johnson meta with the bunkers and stuff continues to be really cool, but
Yeah.
definitely the way to combat that is with locusts, and we have plenty of those.
Yes, we do. Probably deeper in here and see if we just keep contesting this.
Yep, there we go. Took us a little while. We got that set. I'm actually going to bring in Borodis. I'm excited to see how he plays.
Yeah, this Wraith Invader is really interesting to me. I would be curious. We need to test out and see the damage on it without, honestly, without any units in it.
Yeah,
We've got one of their Reavers sitting on there.
yeah. If you can move that engineer up just a little, we could take him out.
Almost.
Beautiful.
No, he's still there.
Oh, he's not down. Okay. I can drop it now. There we go. Okay, with turtling a little bit too.
Yep. We've got the setup, which is really interesting. I mean, we've really got these 2 points pretty well locked down. Do want to try this. Know what I should try? Mega turret. See how this thing works. Look at this beast.
That is substantial.
What is it shooting, though? Like, what did that just shoot? Trying to figure this out. Interestingly enough as well, that this is not capping this point. So this is the Lich Vanguard. I have no idea what this is, but it is a beast.
It's scary is what it is. Holy cow.
Goodness gracious. So that's interesting. So anything I drop in here, it automatically gets rush. Which is also really
That is
cool.
actually really cool.
Yeah.
See if I share that. It looks like I do. I can actually take advantage of that and get rush on all mine as well.
Got a scarab walking in.
Yes, sir. Is indeed.
Anaconda.
I think I'm gonna focus on energy production until those Uber units go away.
Yep. I'll get Avium in here.
I think that's a really good bend but don't break
Yeah.
example right there.
Yep. That was solid. And I'll just do that. Then I'm just gonna do this.
That's just rude.
The Rain of Fire is brutal. This thing for 80 energy is like extremely surprising me.
Yeah, that's got to be in contention for
Probably
one of the most effective uses of energy.
Yes. It's just a brutal leader power.
I am actually having a lot of trouble popping down Invigorating Frenzy. Infusion pools grant healing for a brief time. It actually won't pop. It says that it's a good place for it, but it won't do it.
Honestly, that doesn't surprise me. We got a pretty big contingent of them trying to fight
There,
here.
okay. And I think I figured out the issue too.
Under fire from enemy vehicles.
Almost like this thing shields them.
Enemy vehicles.
This thing is freaking brutal, man. I'm like really surprised at how good this unit is. It's basically like an Uber unit, but almost better and way cheaper. I mean, smaller area of effect, but still.
Well, the effect that it has on other units feels like, and I mean, and it attacks. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So not a bad first game, just to kind of see what everything does and what everything is. I think there's a big focus on, who did I have? Voridus. On the cooler looking one, there's a big focus on using the engineer's ability to drop the gel, and then from there using your leader abilities on that gel. Feels a little strange.
Yeah. The gel was one thing I was kind of having a hard time wrapping my mind around as well. Kind of, it seems a little similar to like the methane that we saw with our grunt leader there, but obviously still different because it seems like it has somewhat different capabilities depending on how kind of you use it. So that's interesting. I'm gonna take a look and shift this deck up just a little bit. I don't think I got the bang for the buck out of the mega turret that I was expecting, which is a little sad actually.
And I'm actually wondering if it's meant to be a long range weapon.
Which is probably a fair statement, and you are probably correct.
Because I think traditionally, like in the first Halo Wars, they were like always super long range.
I'm gonna take a look. I'm just gonna swap that out. try to go a little bit lower on the curve. Get a Banshee in here. I don't know if I want to go Banshee or... I might actually go Elite Rangers instead, or Assault Elites. I think I'm going to do Assault Elites here. We'll try that out. Try to use probably the Wraith Invader just a little bit better. See if I can't get that thing full and see how the damage output on that is. So, are you ready to go, Sa?
Yeah, let's try it.
So, initial impressions is pretty cool. I do like Pavium. I like the leader. I think he's pretty cool. I'm actually kind of impressed by some of the top end, the more top tier cards. I really like the guard blisterback. I think that's cool. Ironclad is really neat. Rain of Fire might be my new favorite leader power, to be 100% honest. But the Lich Vanguard was actually really, really solid too, and they made it extremely user friendly for figuring out how kind of the rush, the fact that it grants the rush ability as well, folds in. I was kind of concerned with, calling it in and then not knowing, how long that effect lasted or what the area was, or if it was like, I had to call those units in prior to using it or anything like that. And it kind of gives you that dome bubble shield type effect that allows you to see it, which I think was a good move. So definitely interesting. I'm not completely upset about it. Like I said, I think the Mega Turret, maybe I'm just not using it correctly. But overall, some of the new cards I'm seeing are pretty neat.
I think looks like we'll have a decent test here against what will probably be a lot of low energy spam. But these two units, especially combined, I think can be incredibly defensive with your starting army. And if I use the gel correctly, which I had no idea what I was doing last round. If I use the gel correctly, I think it can be kind of a scorched earth type of idea, and throw the rest of the blister backs and the oh gosh, Mantis?
Locust?
No, Locust. Yeah, it's the one. I'm having trouble with word. Throw the Locust and the blister back in there. I think it can be super defensive.
See, this is what I was afraid of here is don't have anything capable.
I got you, dog.
Oh, that. Maybe I'll run this guy to see. I do like the little indicator they put on for unit placement too. I think that's pretty cool. That was a good idea.
Yeah, I thought my game was kind of glitching for a second when we started the last one.
I think I really want to fight that.
I'm gonna lock down, and then I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and help push on C.
Just gotta get this. The key is to try to get this blister back in the fight. And
Yep. Well, my game just crashed.
as did mine. Maybe those guys left.
Neat. Maybe. Interested to see if that counts as a game for us on our placement.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what happened here.
Out of sync.
Well, interestingly enough, this was one thing that we had actually were talking right prior to recording about this game. Was just how sometimes it feels a little buggy.
A little bit, and that actually did count for a placement match.
Wow. I wonder, did it give us the win? It counted as a loss. Wow. Well, good thing we don't care too much about our rank. Let's try that again. We'll see if we can't actually get the match going here. Yeah, I just, after this latest patch update and really kind of reflecting on this game, it had some struggles. I think the initial release of the game, I think, went really well. I think there was actually a lot of hype, especially from those folks that had played Halo Wars 1, which me and you obviously were huge fans of. Like this game pretty much single-handedly got our YouTube channel going, which was really, really cool. So we owe a lot to the game, but that doesn't mean we can't be critical of it. And I think the launch of it went pretty well. I think initially people were happy with the idea of the DLC, and then we just kept getting DLC issue after DLC issue, whether it was an issue with trying to get it downloaded and populated through the store. The initial issue obviously being a guaranteed time frame that didn't end up working or happening. Just a whole lot of issues when you really go back to look at it. And I think, hopefully the best thing we can say now is if there ever is a Halo Wars 3, which I do hope there is, and I hope they kind of learn from this iteration, at least there's a lot of lessons to learn from. And I think, it's just interesting now, with the game in the state it's in, it's been out for months at this point, and we're still having out of sync issues. We've still got some bugs, and it's always going to happen when you introduce new content, but I don't know. I guess just still a lot to learn, and hopefully we learn from these mistakes, and if we do another iteration, we make that next iteration better, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean it's done nothing to ease people's trepidations about 343. And the first argument that's going to come up is, well, that's a creative assembly problem. Probably, but it just kind of seems like everything 343 has touched has had a struggle at launch and has been hampered, and the growth in the development of the game has been slowed in some way. Love Halo 5, played the heck out of Halo 5, but Halo 5 probably lost a lot of player base just based on things like not having Forge when the game launched, not having a wealth of different playlists and stuff. We had to wait for all that.
Yeah.
We had to wait quite a while. I think Forge was just like a month or so. But, just in general, to get everything going, it took us a while.
Yeah, that is a good point that you bring up, and something I kind of forgot about, honestly, was just how there were those issues with some of that stuff at first. And again, this is a massive undertaking. There's not a lot of console, real-time strategy games. So they're doing something different. I can appreciate that, but at the same time, I mean, I guess we just expect a certain production value. We expect a certain quality out of these studios for the name that they're attaching to these games. And I just think a little bit of letdown in some areas. I will say, though, I love the campaign. I love the campaign in this game, and I'm super excited. If you're fans of the channel, we're going to do, we'll obviously do full guides for all the missions. Super happy, like 5 new missions. And I talked in the other video, just giving my overall impressions of the DLC. I'm like, that alone was enough for me to buy this DLC. So, pretty pumped about that. But, like I said, I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see. And we're definitely going to get into some Terminus Firefight too, which I think is another mode that I think we can have a lot of fun in.
Yeah, see, that was why I bought it. That was why I bought this DLC, was for the Terminus Firefight.
It looks like you're about to be encroached upon.
Does indeed, doesn't it?
Quite heavily. That's a beautiful blast unit, because they're not going to be able to walk out of that. That's still really solid.
I don't really know how that
That's still solid.
how that Locust got out, honestly.
That was still solid.
Take it though.
Someone destroy those vehicles!
Yeah, this isn't going to go too good for you.
That's a good one. Try and get in the way here.
What is going on
And game
here?
crashed. Yikes.
I wonder if these guys are quitting.
I mean, potentially. I mean, dude did just lose his entire army. But I mean, if we're getting registered as losses for that, then that's potentially a pretty big exploit.
It did. It counted as another loss, dude. I can't believe that. Wow. That was shaping up what I thought to be a pretty good game. I thought that was going to be kind of fun. It seemed like we were going to have some good pushes, some good counter pushes and back and forth. Well, interesting. So that's our initial thoughts. Quick look at the leaders. A little bit longer of a video trying to get some games to actually work. We'll take a harder look and see if anybody's talking on the forums about player disconnects and how that affects rank. Again, not that we care too much. I disagree that we should be getting a loss for those. Maybe they just don't count in general, but I guess that's a tough situation to solve, because if you're about to lose a game and you just quit out of it, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that, or if this is just a bug with the game syncing in general. But we'll do some follow up on that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and let us know. Let us know if you're jumping into the DLC, if you're using these leaders, if you've got some good decks. As we always do, a lot of content to come. We'll try to get some Blitz deck guides together. Obviously going to be doing some Terminus Firefight and some things like that. So stay tuned to the channel for a lot more on Halo Wars. As always, again, we will be doing campaign guide walkthroughs, so stay tuned for those. This is just a busy week for our games in general. Destiny 2, obviously got a lot going on with that, and then Rocket League, the update, coming out very shortly as well. So stay tuned for all of that. Really do appreciate all the support. I've been Doc, that's been Sloth, Average Gamer guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.